18 months. That's how long it took me to get Google AdSense approval for my website, theprofessor.info. 18 months of rejections and frustrations and technical challenges that I just could not get my head around. But then I discovered Manus AI, and with Manus's help, with quite a lot of work, but work supported by Manus, I've managed to get AdSense approval on Google. So I'm going to break it down for you. This is what to do. I've got all of the prompts. I've got all of the technical details. You can download them down below so you can follow along. You've got checklists. You've got all sorts of stuff that will get you from frustration to earning money from AdSense. Let's get into it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up AdSense, the exact AdSense requirements that most people miss, how to use Manus AI to audit your website and tell you what's wrong with it and what you need to do. I'll show you the critical technical fixes that got me approved. If you don't fix these, you won't get approved. So I'll show you exactly what went wrong with my site and what I needed to do and how Manus helped me do it. I'll show you how to implement structured data, internal linking, how to get Manus to help you with all of that. I've got a pre-submission checklist that gets you at least 95% of the way there. So go through the checklist, tick everything off, then you'll be ready to go. And most importantly, I'll share with you the real lessons I learned from months and months of frustration and failure. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Getting AdSense approval is probably, in this whole journey of the professor, getting videos up, getting SEO right, getting people to watch the videos, getting 10,000 subscribers, getting AdSense on my website has been the most difficult thing and the most frustrating by a long way. So in this video, I won't sugarcoat it. I'll show you what the problems, but I know that if you follow these steps, if you use this tool, then you can get your AdSense much more quickly than I did. So before we jump into the technical stuff, let's just work through what Google AdSense is really about and why it's so difficult to get AdSense approval. Now, there's videos out there showing you how to get AdSense approval. I watched hundreds of them, and I tell you, I failed. AdSense is Google's advertising program. So what it does, it allows advertisers to upload adverts, and then Google pushes them out to websites. And so it gives some assurance. The fact that you have to achieve AdSense, the AdSense requirements, which are pretty tough, the fact you have to achieve that gives some assurance to those publishers, those people with the ads, that the websites that they're going on make sense. So here's the thing. It's not about you. It's about the advertisers, i.e. the people paying the money. Google is protecting its advertisers from low quality websites where they wouldn't want their ads placing. And of course, that's why it's so difficult to get on. It's not about making life tough for you. It's about making sure they're protecting their business model. So here are the common issues that stops you from getting AdSense. I'll go through them. So insufficient content. Now, I've seen people get AdSense with 4 or 5 bits of good quality content. I had 27 blogs before I got AdSense approval. I'm not sure that was the problem, but you need a sufficient amount of decent quality content. Next thing is the quality of the content that's on there. It needs to have some depth. It needs to have some point of view in it. If it's a blog, it needs to have some use to the reader. It can't be just AI generated drivel. It can't be just lists of files, etc. Even if those files are really useful, it needs to be decent quality content. And that's something that I ran into, and I'll show you why and how I got around it. The user experience on your website needs to be really strong. So navigation bars need to work. You need to have all of the bits of the site working. You don't want pages that don't have links to them, etc., etc., etc. So the site needs to work effectively. The site must meet certain technical requirements. So it must have a privacy policy. a terms of use, etc., that are readable. It must have menu bars so you can move around the site, etc. If you haven't got those, or they're wrong, that was a problem that I had. They're in the wrong format. I'll explain. Then you just get rejected. And of course, when you get rejected, you don't get a big list of things. You know, this page wasn't right. We couldn't access this information. You just get, you've got policy violations. You need to look at your website. So you have to work it out. And I spent months trying to work it out. Couldn't get it right. But I'll show you today what changed and how I did get it right. Fourth key area is traffic. Now, there is no particular minimum, and my site doesn't get many visits a month. If I've got a big video like this one where there's a whole load of downloads and I put the downloads on the site, then that will drive quite a lot of traffic. But it's not all the time. I'm getting maybe 100 views a day, maybe less than that sometimes. So there is no minimum, but you need to have at least some traffic to the website to show that it's a legitimate website. It's not just a brand new thing that's just been put up. So use all of your tools, whether you're a YouTuber and you push people to the website that way, whether you use LinkedIn to push people to the website, or X or Facebook or whatever, before you submit your first AdSense request. The fifth key issue is that it must be policy compliant. So nothing naughty, too risque. You have to think about things like gambling and those sorts of things. So make sure that you meet the policy compliance requirements of Google if you want to have ads put on your website. Okay, let's start with the absolute basics. The first thing you need is a Google account. So if you've got a gmail.com account, you're good to go. Think about the name of that email address. So Cheeky Chappy 123 might be a fun thing, but remember, this is about business. So think about your business, think about the name of your channel, your website, etc., and maybe pick an email address that is a bit more professional, like theprofessor@gmail.com. In my case, I have a subdomain and I use that. Next thing you need is a website, and I use Wix. Sometimes in all this frustration, I thought, well, maybe I just need to go to WordPress or one of the others, but I use Wix. All of what I'm going to tell you should work for all of the different types of websites that you might have. So you will need a custom domain, so not the sort of free wix.com domain. So you'll need to purchase and invest in a custom domain. I've got theprofessor.info, that's my domain, and that's what my website sits on. Whatever you're using, you need the ability to add custom code to your website. So in the back end of Wix, you can add custom code, and that will allow you to add the Google AdSense code into your website. What I'm going to show you in a moment is with Manus, you can directly enter into the back end of Wix, and so it can do some of your custom coding for you. It's not the most difficult thing, but it can be a bit fiddly. With Manus and Wix, you can link the two together. And then finally, you need control over your content, site, and structure. Okay, before you even think about AdSense, you have to have a few things on your website. You must have a homepage that has purpose, takes you through to the various things, etc. So this is my homepage. You need to have an about page explaining who you are. There's me, what you'll find on the website, who we help. These are things I've added in with the help of Manus. You need some way to be contacted. So here is my contact page. So you can put in your name, a subject, email, and write a message and submit it. So you need to have some way of being contactable. You must have a privacy policy. And I will tell you that this and the terms and conditions were one of the things that really caused me grief, but you need to have a privacy policy. This is mine. And you need to have a terms of use. And this is my terms of use. And if you don't have the privacy policy, or you don't have the terms of use, or perhaps more importantly, Google can't read them, you'll get rejected. That was certainly one of my problems. And you need enough posts. to get going. I started with 27 posts before I resubmitted. I think you can probably get away with 20, but here are my posts. They're all sort of formatted in a sensible way. You can go through them with these sorts of groupings, but yeah, I had 27 before I started. And if you've got those things, if you've got the about, you've got contact, privacy, terms of conditions, and some content, you're probably good to go. Don't go yet. Let's go through how you make sure that you're successful. Okay, so what changed for me? Well, what changed for me was Manus. Now, I've got a video up here if you want to find out all about Manus, including a sort of insight into what I did with my website. But what I wanted to do was focus in on how Manus can specifically help you get AdSense on your website. Now, if you go down below, you can click on a link and you'll get 500 free credits. And that will be enough to do your first assessment and get your first report about your website. And just about Manus. So Manus, now owned by Meta. I think they paid nearly $3 billion for Manus, which is mind-blowing. This company, or this product, is not even a year old yet. And it was sold for $3 billion to Meta. So this is good stuff. What's different about Manus is, yes, it's an AI, but it has an architecture within it that can do jobs. So it won't just give you a response to a question. It will create a report. It will do deep research. It will make changes to your website. You might see some of that. It will do an assessment. It will bring lots of bits of work together to give you the answer you want and then produce the output you want. It's really, really good. Now, it's not perfect. It's not perfect yet. And hopefully over the next year, it's got a lot better. Since version 1, it's now 1.6. It's got a lot better. Hopefully it will get even better than it is today. But it made the difference to my journey to AdSense. Okay, so 5 things Manus can do that I think others can do bits of, but not all together. So 1, it can access your live website. It opens up a computer and it will access your live website and test things. So test links, test that things work, etc. It can audit your content. It will go through, read it, audit it, identify links that might be there. So reading all of your blogs and then identifying internal links, for instance. It'll check your references that you might have or your external links on your blogs. It can check your technical SEO. So you can go in the back end of your website and check whether you've got all your alt text for your pictures, whether you've got meta descriptions for each of your pages, all of that sort of stuff. It will do that and give you a report on it. It can implement fixes via APIs. Now, it can do that into the back end of Wix. It can't do it into the editor. So you do have to be a little bit careful. You can't sort of say, go and add this into a specific page. It will create the pages outside and then you can import them into Wix, but it won't go into the editor and start changing the layout of your website. And I think that's quite a good thing, because websites are very, very temperamental. And it can then verify the results. So you can make fixes to your website, it will make fixes, you can make fixes, and then it will verify that those fixes work. So one of my problems was my ads.txt wasn't being picked up by Google. I got the text. I said, Manus, could you add it into every page? It went off and did it. And then it verified that it was there. 2 days later, Google acknowledged that it was there. So that sort of thing is really valuable. Okay, so let's think about your content strategy. So first of all, what is on your website needs to be original. So not copied from other websites, it needs to be original. The content needs to be valuable. It needs to have some value for the users of your website. So they need to get some value out of it. So not just slop, it needs to have some really useful information in it. Things that particularly work are your opinion on things, data, bringing data together and making it into something sensible, having a slightly different view on a particular subject. Why I won't be using Grok 4, big brains, big problems, that sort of thing. Make it interesting. Why AI is a strategy, not an IT problem. So things that are sort of create an interest, make it valuable for the reader. Each of your articles will need to be substantial. So no good putting sort of 200 words. You need to sort of have about 800 words at least in your blogs, 800 to 1,000. Make it sensible. Here's one that I've got, perfectly fine. You don't need 10,000 words, but you do need something that is of some substance. Of course, the blogs need to be, or the documents on there need to be written well. So good use of English, etc. If it's in English, if it's in French, good use of French. It needs to be well structured, use sensible language, broken up into different bytes, etc. I've played around with lots of different types and I've sort of got there now. This is only a short blog. See if I've got some things that are a bit bigger. This is my latest one on my predictions. So I've got created some graphics as well, but and I'm obviously much better now with my internal links because I've got the help of Manus. Link to my video, that's helpful. No good, you can't just create a website with links to your videos. That doesn't work. You've got to have some content, some value, etc. And then there's a piece about being consistent. So not just uploading 10 pieces and then 6 months later having uploaded nothing. So something sort of regular and consistent. It doesn't have to be a blog every day. It doesn't have to be a blog every week. I probably have uploaded 1 or 2 a month. That's my consistency, and I got my AdSense on the back of that. That was enough. Okay, first prompt for Manus. How can you use Manus to help you with your content strategy? So I'm creating an AI education website for non-technical professionals. Help me develop a content strategy that will meet Google AdSense requirements. I want to focus on practical, actionable guides. You put whatever you want in there, and there we go. I'd like to help you develop a comprehensive content strategy. So to create the most effective plan, I have a few clarifying questions. Target audience and topics, content format and volume, monetization timeline, competitive positioning. If you like, I can proceed with a default strategy that covers Google AdSense content policies, SEO optimization, content calendar recommendations, monetization, website practices. So of course, you will go in and answer the questions. We're going to continue with the default strategy. And Manus is, for this sort of thing, relatively quick. I think when it is searching your website, when it is doing a deep dive, when it's doing deep research, then it will take much longer. But remember, what it does is it creates a computer. So here, it's in a computer, it's going through looking at the eligibility requirements for AdSense. So it's giving me that information direct from Google on that day, the program policies, and then it will bring that all in and give me a report. So here are the AdSense requirements. Honestly, this changed it for me. I'd read these. I didn't know what was important, what wasn't. I didn't know how it worked, how it didn't. It's now looking at some other educational websites to have a look at the strategies, etc. When I started using Manus, it all became much easier. And the really nice thing about Manus is it will explain what it's done and why. And that's really helpful because it builds your knowledge of things like AdSense. Okay, so this is what you get back, your content strategy for an AI education website, an introduction. Achieving and maintaining Google AdSense approval is critical for monetization. Talks about the various requirements. So it gave me those requirements because I put that in the prompt. It went off and found them. Target audience, non-technical professionals. So it is thought about the audience characteristics, so what their motivation, their pain points, learning preferences and goals. Content pillars and topic clusters. AI for productivity. It suggested that. And it's given me a beginner's guide to using ChatGPT for email management as a potential first blog. And it's given me some other choices, some other content, top 5 AI note-taking apps, how to automate repetitive tasks with Zapier and AI, how HR professionals can use AI for resume screening, talks about SEO and content optimization, keyword research, on-page SEO. Every article should have unique H1, H2, and H3s, content structure, build authority. So the way to build authority is to consistently publish. Now people watch it. It helps boost your site's credibility. The other thing you can do is to get backlinks. So you sort of get some sort of automatic backlinks from various search engines, etc. But a real sort of follow-through backlink, i.e., you put a piece of work on another person's website and put a backlink to your website. My site, when it got AdSense approval, only had one of those. It's now got a few more, but when I got AdSense approval, it only had one. So you don't need loads of them, but a few makes a big difference in sort of setting up your credibility. Then it gives a workflow, and Manus does this a lot, sort of day 1, day 4, when to do things, setting up the various articles, etc. Gives you a conclusion and next steps, and then all the references where you get the information from is there. Really, really cool. Let's move on to how we actually create quality content. Okay, so my next prompt suggests 10 blog posts about AI productivity. You insert your niche there instead of AI productivity that would appeal to non-technical experts. You insert your persona of your customer base in there and demonstrate expertise for AdSense approval. So asking it to come up with 10 blog posts. Okay, so we've got our response. Should have given me 10. Title, the end of the to-do list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what I would do now is take one of these blogs. So let's take AI-powered meetings like that. And I will say, let's just close that off. And I would say, give me an outline for AI-powered meetings. Give me a blog outline. So this will give me a structure for this particular blog. And remember, this is just a guide. Here we are. We've got our blog outline, AI-powered meetings, target audience, goal. So you would then have a hook, problem that you're trying to achieve, the solution and the promise. And then it will go through various different areas. I would then use this and go off and write my blog, and I would just bash it out. I'm not particularly bothered about the structure, about AdSense, etc. I just bash out the blog because then it's got my voice on it. It's authentic. It's not AI produced. So I would do that and produce a blog, and then that would be the blog that I would start with and bring it back into Manus to try and help make sure that it's absolutely right for AdSense. Okay, so I've got my first blog. I've uploaded it to Manus, and I'm saying review this draft for AdSense compliance, check for content quality, readability, SEO optimization, and any policy violations. Okay, here is my report. So I've got the draft is a strong starting point. It's well structured, easy to read, provides valuable information for non-technical audiences, generally compliant with AdSense policies, content quality, originality, value, relevance, areas for improvement, depth and expertise. While the content is good, it could be more in-depth, better demonstrate expertise. Unique perspective. Post covers a topic well, but it could benefit from a unique angle. Data and sources, statistics used are powerful, but they would be more credible if you cited the sources. There's no citations in there. Add references section, etc. Writing is clear and concise. Good structure, engaging tone, formatting, visuals. Post is text heavy, add some images, fix the formatting. SEO, title includes a primary keyword, good use of headings, etc. You could say, great, please now create a new blog with that change in. So it will take your original blog and it will add in some more of that information. And of course, some of it says it needs some more personal information. So I could add in some personal information, add it in, and then you work on a blog iteratively until you get something that you know is high quality, meets the AdSense requirements. So that's how you build your content strategy and content for your website. Okay, here's some mistakes I made with my content strategy early on. So first of all, some of my posts were a bit thin. They were only maybe 500 words, and I aim for between 800 and 1200, maybe up to 1500 words. But some of my early posts were a bit thin. So actually, I deleted some of those. It was easier to delete them and than sort of add into them. And I just wrote some new content. So some of my content was a bit thin. Some of my content was too AI generated. I certainly experimented with generating some of my blogs 100% from AI, and they just weren't good enough. Now, I think they're getting better. I think we're getting closer to that being an acceptable thing to do, but having more of me in it, having more of my experience makes a big difference, I think. So I don't do that anymore, and I always put plenty of me into the blogs, and I think that makes a big difference to the quality. That was mistake number 2. Mistake number 3, I published in blocks. So when I had a bit of time off work, I might make 3 blogs, and then it might take 3 months for me to do my next one, and it was inconsistent. And I think much better to have, a monthly blog or 2 monthly blog, but just be consistent. I'm not sure I was. So I think that was one of the mistakes I made with my content strategy. And I also had, so it wasn't duplicate content, but I had quite a lot of overlapping content or content about the same tool that I was using. And I think that didn't seem to be personalized enough. So that's one of the things I have sorted out. Now, that doesn't mean don't be consistent, but make sure that each entry into your blog site stands alone and is meaty enough in its own, and is not too similar, not saying the same thing, has its own voice, is not saying the same thing as something else on your website. So one of the things that I was poor at was doing internal links. And of course, because you sort of produce blog 1 and then blog 2, then so blog 2 can link, you might put a link to blog 1 in blog 2, but will you go back and put a link to blog 2 in blog 1? And then when you're getting up to 10, 20, 30, are you going backwards and forwards? So one of the things I did was ask Manus, go through my website, read all my blogs, and then produce a report on what opportunities there were for internal linking. And don't forget, the prompt to get all of this is in the pack. So here we go. Table identifies strategic internal linking, and it went through from this blog to this blog, medium priorities, supporting links, related content. And so I was just able to go through and create those internal links for my website. Now, I'd said before that Manus can go into the back end and create internal links. Now, I asked it if it could do it, and it said it could, but it said it was concerned that it would mess up formatting if it did that. So I did it manually rather than risk messing up all of my blogs. But you might be able to give it a go. You might. I don't know. I lost my bottle there, so I went through and did it manually. It took me a couple of evenings to go through, but I probably put in 50 or 60 internal links, and that makes the website look much more together and is better for AdSense approval. Now, one of the things I have is an Ahrefs account. Now, this is the free account. I don't pay for it, but I get a weekly report on the health of my site. And I'll be honest with you, I don't understand it. I don't understand what a 404 page is, a 4xx page is, etc. So what I did was I went into Manus, and I'll put the prompt in down below. I went into Manus and said, could you have a look at my Ahrefs account? I'll log in for you. So it opened up a browser, went into the account, and it did a full analysis and told me what was absolutely necessary to change, what was okay to leave as it was. Sometimes you have pages that are not listed for Google, etc. That's fine, but just making sure that you make that decision sensibly. I didn't understand it. I asked Manus to go and look at it, and it produced me a full report. And here we go. This was my Ahrefs 100% health score action plan. So how do I go from 87 to 100? And it gave me the list, things that were broken, orphan pages, high impact warnings that should be fixed, content issues, missing H1s, meta descriptions, etc., low impact notices, good to fix. It went through and it gave me a detailed fix guide. This is how to do it. This is what it meant. Fix links, broken pages. Just went through it step by step. How useful is that? Now let's talk about schema markup. So this, I believe, is about creating a links within your website that can be read by AI, and it requires you to have an entity schema, blog posting schema, and breadcrumb schema. And what I asked Manus to do was, I need to implement this structure on my website and improve my AdSense approval chances. Please create and inject using the API, the Wix API that I've attached. Here you can see Wix is attached. It's a connected app, Wix. And what it did was it created those schemas and then injected them into the site. And what it did was improve my site's readability. And this was the structured data and content architecture implementation for my website. Core concept, what is structured data, implementation plan, entity homepage with JSON-LD, what is it? FAQ and answers hub, why is it important? Internal linking and breadcrumbs, what is it? Structured approach to internal linking and adding breadcrumb schema. Matching readable assets, sitemap and author signals. Your role versus my role, entity, my role, create an injected script. So I needed to provide these. It did all of the actual work. Next steps, I needed to give it this, and then it went off and did the work. So if you want to be found by Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, etc., you need to implement this schema on your website. Manus will do it for you and inject it. Really cool. If it doesn't link to your particular website, then it will give you detailed step-by-step instructions on how to do it. So small step, not necessary for AdSense approval, but if you want to get your website seen out there, I think it's a really good way of doing it. Now, I want to tell you about probably the biggest technical problem that I faced with my website. And I think it probably stopped me from being given approval for AdSense by 6 months. And it was incredibly frustrating. And that was a problem with a thing called iFrames. So I get my privacy policy and terms and conditions organized by an organization called Termly, and they do a great job. They go through, ask you questions, and then they give you a defined privacy policy for your particular website, and then you can upload that content into your website. And the problem is that you upload it and you upload it into what is called an iframe. Now, the Google bot that reads your website may or may not read the iframe. And I'm pretty sure that because my terms and conditions and privacy policy sat in an iframe, that was the reason that I got rejected multiple times. I mean, 20, 30, 40 times. And it wasn't until I had this conversation with Manus when they said, yeah, that can be a problem. And so we worked through a technical fix where Manus took the information, made it into HTML. I was then able to load it up as a normal Word file into my website. It's not ideal. Why the hell doesn't Google use iFrames? But if you've got iFrames on your website and they've got important information in, it's likely that Google sees that as a blank page, and that will stop you getting AdSense. That stopped me tons. It was incredibly frustrating, and it wasn't until I started working with Manus that I solved my iframe problem. Once you've got your website, you've done all your internal linking, you've got some great content, you've sorted out any iframe issues, sort that out first, I tell you. Before you go to your Google AdSense account and submit it, because you basically, once it turns you down, you then have to wait for about a month before you can resubmit. It can be quite frustrating. So before you do that, go into Manus and say, please conduct a comprehensive pre-AdSense review of my site. Check content quality, technical SEO, policy compliance, crawlability, give me a realistic assessment of my approval likelihood, and identify any remaining issues. So run that on your website. Hopefully you'll have been working with your website before that. You run that first if you want to find out what the problems are, what you need to sort out. But run that on your website. You get the review of your website and a document that looks a bit like this. This is the report. I got the final verification report on January the 15th, which is when I put in for AdSense the last time. Current readiness, 95%, critical issues resolved, crawlability, technical status, content quality, you're ready to submit. Now, previous ones said you're not ready. I think the first time I got 6 out of 10, and there were 4 things I needed to change. This is a great way of doing that audit before you press go and waste another month not getting your AdSense going. So do this first and then you'll be good to go. Okay, we're nearly there. So let me share some of the most common pitfalls that cause rejections, many of which I experienced myself. So applying too early. As soon as you get a chance to go. Not sure that's the best idea. Go use some tools, use Manus or use ChatGPT or whatever it is, or Gemini to do some of this analysis. As I say, Manus was the thing that changed it for me. It allowed me to get everything ready before I went and I didn't go too early. Don't ignore the mobile experience. I focused on desktop design and found that some of my mobile pages looked terrible, so I had to go through and make sure that they worked. I had a few pages where I had sort of placeholders in, where I perhaps put a title in and then I hadn't put an actual title in and it got hidden behind a picture or something like that. Manus found those and pointed me in the direction, and I was able to go into the sort of layers map, find them and delete them. I had 3 or 4 of them, and it was Manus that found them. I couldn't see them on the website. They weren't obvious to me. They were hidden behind things in different layers. So Manus found them. Broken link. So when I did my first Ahrefs review, I had 11 broken links and that I didn't know about. And obviously Google will see that as a poor site, a site that's not working properly. So I used Manus. It gave me the instructions. I went through, I fixed them, got them sorted. No traffic. While there is no minimum traffic, I think if you go without any traffic, you are likely to be turned down. And they'll just, I think Google just won't see it as a legitimate site. Why would they bother putting ads on if no one's going to the site? So do some work to build up the traffic first. That would be my advice. And then the biggest mistake I made was ignoring the technical issues. So I focused only on content. I thought content was great. So why should there be a problem with the terms and conditions and privacy and all of that sort of stuff? Actually, I think it was the iframe problem that kept getting me rejected. I ignored it, didn't know about it. Then I ignored it, and then I sorted it. and I got AdSense approval. So don't ignore the technical issues. Before you apply, 15 to 20 decent articles. Make sure that your privacy policy is crawlable. Make sure your terms and conditions are crawlable. Make sure you've got an about page with real information. Make sure you've got your contact information or a form that people can contact you with. Use Ahrefs to find any broken links, or use Manus to find broken links. Go and check all the links. It will use quite a lot of Manus credits, but it's worth it if you get your AdSense and you get rid of that frustration, I can tell you. Make sure that your design is mobile responsive. Loads of people look at websites on their mobile device. If it doesn't work on a mobile device, you're missing out on a big audience. Make sure that your pages load quickly. Some of my pages were very slow, and Manus found those, identified which pictures were too big, and I then went through and changed them from PNG to JPEG and reduced the load speed. Something to keep an eye on all the time. Don't forget to implement the structured data. All of the prompts that you need and all of the technical information will be in the packs. There's more than one this time in the packs that I'll link below. So download them, save them, keep them, and make sure that you use them. I know how frustrating this is. Use those packs. They'll help you to get through to AdSense approval, and make sure you've got some organic traffic. Okay, so you've done all of that. You are ready to go. Manus has told you, get going with your AdSense. So you sign on to your Google account, and then you submit your URL. Google will give you a code snippet. You put that into your site header. If you're on Wix, say to Manus, please put this in the site header. Complete your profile and click submit, and you have to wait. So I've had reviews take 3 weeks for a rejection. I've had reviews take 24 hours for a rejection. The reviews that gave me the acceptance took about 6 days. So take your pick. I don't know how long it's going to take. What my understanding is that Google does a 2-stage review. First of all, a bot does a review, and I guess that bot is checking whether your terms and conditions work and all of that sort of stuff, the structure's sensible, and then it goes to a human to make sure that the quality of the content is good enough. So you have to get through the first bit before it goes to the second bit. I think, remember the iFrame problem, Google sometimes reads it, but doesn't always. So I think it was possible for me to have got through stage 1 and then be turned down at stage 2. I think it was also possible for me to be turned down at stage 1 because of the iFrames. So sort out the iFrames, it got me through that. And then I think it's just the quality of the content that really matters. And then you get your approval. And I tell you, it was one of the nicest emails I've ever had after all the frustration. And then you go into, once you've got the approval, you want to get some ads on your site. Now you can put ad blocks all over your site and do it manually. I actually asked Manus what was my best strategy. They suggested that I do auto ads at the start, see how it goes, get some data back from Google, and then decide whether I want to do anything a bit more specialized with the website. So that's what I've done, and I'm still in that process of gaining the information, and then I may well do something more later. One of the things you need to do is insert a code into every page. Again, I asked Manus to do that. It did it. All the pages now have ads on them, which works fine. So Manus was really good. Again, that'll all be in the content below. And then finally, how not to lose AdSense. So never click your own ads. You basically just get banned. Don't ask others to click. That's forbidden. You just leave it there. People click it if they want to click it. Don't ask other people to do it. Keep creating quality content. So don't let your site go stale. Monitor your traffic. Unusual traffic patterns can trigger reviews. Stay compliant. Make sure privacy policy, terms and conditions stay up to date, and don't then put them in an iframe, etc. And of course, as you get that data, bang it into Manus, ask it to give you some understanding of what the data means and help you with your plan. So let's talk about money, because that's why you're doing it, right? Now, let's be realistic about what earnings you can get. So I've done some analysis of this. So if you're getting between 0 and 1,000 visitors a month, I get about 250 visitors a month. You're likely to earn between $10 and $50 a month. So wait on that push order. If you are growing, getting 1,000 to 10,000 visitors a month, you might get up to about $500 a month. You're getting 50,000 viewers a month, visitors to your website a month, you could be earning to $2,500 on that account. Now, that's all ifs and buts, and it depends what they're doing on your page, but it just gives you a broad overview of what you might expect. So let's recap most important lessons from my journey of 18 months to get AdSense approval. Technical issues, big drama, they're often not visible. I didn't know that the Google bot doesn't read iFrames. So check, use the tools that can go and search out the information for you and make sure that you meet the technical issues. For me, Manus was a game changer. Don't forget, down below, click the link, you get 500 free credits. You can start using it right now. Keep going. I didn't give up. Thought about it. 18 months it took me. I thought about giving up, but don't give up. Keep going. Keep producing great quality content. Use Manus to help you to make sure that your website's compliant, and I think you can get your AdSense approval. Documentation is powerful, so keeping a record of what you're doing. And of course, if you're using a tool like Manus, it will automatically keep your record. But I'm recording this video to record my journey, because I wish that this video had been available to me 18 months ago. If it had, it wouldn't have taken me 18 months to get AdSense approval. So that's why this video is here. And if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a like. If you've learned something, subscribe. And if you know somebody that's struggling, share it with them. Get them to come and look at it. And then I guess finally, I would say, make sure that you've got a quality website with quality content on it that you're proud of before submitting to AdSense. Speed, obviously, we're all impatient. I certainly am. But get stuff right before you submit, and hopefully you'll have less frustration than I did. So we've got a complete learning pack to go along with this video, and you can download it from the links below. There's a follow along workbook. There's a prompt library, every prompt that I used in Manus to get me from 0 to AdSense. Technical reference guide, so deep dives into the technical issues that I faced, why I faced them. Download it, keep it by your side. And of course, you've got this video to come back to. You want to see actually what it looks like and how I did it. So next steps for you, download all the learning packs, set up Manus, follow the workbook phase by phase, use the prompts to get personalized guidance, and submit your application with confidence. I've been the Professor. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.